open this and talk about what makes this a template file. So there's my baby at Lambeau, like super psyched. And if I want to use this to draw over, which I'm going to do, because I just find this a really fun picture and it gives me lots of stuff to play with in the background too, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I do a few things to this image to make it play the best way possible with Illustrator. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my size is accurate. So if we go to image size, the key here is that you want to have enough information for you to be able to work over it. So who has the handout for the project? I just want to double check what I wrote on there. I'm pretty sure I put 96, but I might have put 150, so I just want to be sure. Flip it to the back side, I think. It's going to be... Okay, there we go. I did do 150. So for drawing over in this case, we're going to leave it at 150, and we're going to leave it at the size that we want it to be. It's going to make it a little bit large, but we're going to work with it to try to keep it manageable in size. If you want to make it a little bit lower, anywhere between 96 and 150 will work. 96 is going to give you a little less information, but it's going to make it considerably smaller to carry around. So I'm fine with 96 and I'm fine with up to 150. The reason I changed the template to 150 for this assignment is some people get really bogged down in the pixelization as they zoom in. So having it at a higher resolution from the start allows you that flexibility. All right? So 96 or 150, whichever you choose. We'll leave it here to see how it functions. And I'm going to leave mine at 7.5 by 10 inches. You don't want to draw over something that's 2 inches by 2 inches. That's going to be a nightmare, right? You also don't want something that's 11 by 17, or sometimes they come in and they're like 50 by 30 or whatever, like random gigantic size. That's going to be huge and you don't want that either. So we're going to go ahead and click on OK. And for your template, here are the things. Can I have that sheet just for a second so I go in the same order? You are awesome. Thank you. So if I come over to here, what I want to do is make sure that I have my image as strong as I possibly can. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, and I'm going to just take my histogram. This is like the simplest way to do it. And if I move my black point to where that starts to come up, because I'm like the world's worst photographer, it kind of just increases my black point a little bit there. I can also choose an area in the image to set a white point and a black point. But the key with doing that is that if I go, oh, the sky is white, and I click on there, it just washes everything out because the sky is not actually white, right? So if I know where I've got a particularly white area or something that should show up as white, I can click on that, and that'll get my range a little bit closer to where I want it to be, and then I can bring this down. Again, we're not reproducing this image, but what we do want is to have a true value shift where we can see like the very minute shadows that happen within the image. So we'll go ahead and click on OK. So after that, you can also use other things to adjust the image. We're not going to actually print this out, so we don't have to worry too much about it. But one thing that can really help is if you're using that eyedropper to select color and you're working with an RGB image, there's some translation that happens. And sometimes your color switch is not as clear as it could be. So I'm going to encourage you to switch to CMYK for your color. So under image mode, and this is all on the sheet that I gave you, you're going to go to CMYK.
Are we going to print them?
Nope. You're just going to switch it to CMYK so that when you eyedropper it, it's a one-to-one assessment of cyan, magenta, yellow, black, because that's the color that we will print out of Illustrator. So we're going to make a print file. So it's like speaking a different language, right? So if I have something that's written in French and you and I are trying to do work in English, some of the details may get lost in translation. And that's the same thing that can happen pixel-wise if you think of it like a language. RGB is native to the monitor, but when we're creating color in Illustrator, we want it to be CMYK color because we are going to print that out eventually. So RGB color would only serve us on a monitor.
Right.
Does that make sense? You look like you might still wonder.
No, I was just wondering if we're gonna print them. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to print them, but we are going to print the end result. So we're going to try to get the truest color possible if we're using the eyedropper and other things like that. Yep. So once I've got this here, I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Save As. And I'm going to save this in my templates folder. So I know it's different. I'm going to save it as a tiff. I'm going to say OK. LZW compression will close it, compress it while it's closed. IBM will work on all machines. So we'll go ahead and click that, and we'll click on OK. And we'll click on Save. And so File, Save. Sorry, I start using keystrokes when I do save. Command S, and then Command W.